Hello, hello, hello. This is Tom from Tom and Ruth Philippine Adventures. Today's video coming up is something that R and I did. We did a video recently on water and water filtration. So we're going to actually take water out of a puddle out on the street. Most dirtiest water you could ever get. No telling what's in there. So anyway, we're going to show you how clear this water comes out using that unit. Thank you and God bless. I've done a retake on this thing 5 or 6, 7, 8, 9 times. My other phone died, then battery died, then I had to get this phone. The girl's borrowing my phone outside to do a video. Healthcare in the Philippines. As you know, healthcare is very important. No matter where you're at, what if something happens? It's always that what if. I've actually had to use insurance. I caught typhoid, as you know. I've actually had to have surgery on my face. You guys remember the big cyst I had on the side of my face? I've had other issues, broke my leg, things like that. So today, I want to talk about insurances in the Philippines. Now, I do want to say Philly Health is one that we have used for me during this time because I'm grandfathered in under the old policy. And what that means is Ruth has coverage, family has coverage. Even though I'm a foreigner, it's grandfathered in from the original policy. You can get Philly Health for about $400 a month. It does cover a lot, but it does not cover all. It would mean the surgery here, the typhoid was covered, the surgery here, breaking legs, limbs, fingers, fall, hurt back, things like that, it'll cover. But as far as internal situations where you need to have your appendix removed or gallbladder or gallstones will cover, but any internal surgeries, things of that nature, it will not cover. It can cover up to a certain point, and then you have to have some other insurance. So I'm going to go through these insurances. They're not in any particular order. I'm just going to say the top 10. It took me a while to do this. As you guys know, it takes a while to do these videos because of the research you have to do in order to even bring one of these together. I researched about 50 companies and narrowed it down to these companies because there's a lot of internal companies. For example, a hospital will have 4 or 5 hospitals they own. They'll have their own internal plan. Globe that you buy your data plans from has its own insurance, and I'll go down through that later on. I'm going to tell you my picks when this is done and give you an idea on what I think is best for you. It may or may not be something for you. Now listen, I am not going to give you, I can give you a roundabout price because I don't know everybody's age. I don't know any pre-existing condition. I don't know what has gone on in your life and anything that's happened as far as your medical. And I shouldn't know, unless you want to tell me. But really, I should know. Because a lot of times, these policies vary depending on your age, if your blood pressure, if you have heart condition, things that are diabetes, things like that. So, now these are not good. These are just in any order. I should have done my picks first, what I like first, but I'm just doing them all. Maria Health, Maria Health, M-A-R-I-A Health. They have a medical plan. It's called a Medicare plan. And how the Medicare plan works is it costs you about 17,000 peso to 25,000 peso. So $400 to $500 per year per head of family. So if you have 3 in a family, it's 17 to 25,000 peso per year per person. Now, the advantage and disadvantage of this particular policy is you know, it's fine, but there are limitations on Maria Health. Some policies, they go up to 250, some go up to 450. The best thing to do is pick the plans right for you. Now, a lot of these companies, what they'll do is they'll have insurance where you'll pay guaranteed up to $2 million U.S. or guaranteed up to 1 million peso, which is $20,000. So you have to make your own decision what is best for you, because if you're going to go for major surgery, you might need more than $20,000. But as hospital care itself is cheaper here than it is compared to what it would be in U.S. You know, they necessarily, the aspirin will be cheaper because you have to go purchase the aspirin at their own internal pharmacy a lot of times. So if they give you the medications and the gauze and everything that you need for the surgery, you have to pre-buy that before you go into surgery. So there's pharmacies and things like that attached or across the street or right down the road that people have opened them up that you can get all the things that you need, you know, insulin, things like that. So the thing about it is, the most important thing is anything that's left over, they will give that back to you if it's like extra gauze or syringes or whatever that they used. Now, another thing before I get started here, all Filipino are covered under Philly Health. All. If they go to the hospital, if say RR goes to the hospital, she's covered no matter what. Ruth goes to the hospital, she's covered no matter what, whether she has a policy or not. They have to be registered with Philly Health in order to get their insurance. It's a really simple pre-registration, and you go and pre-register, and it's a nominal fee that you pay to get that done. I don't remember what it was, you know, 100, 200 peso. And it will vary sometimes also. I have had it where we had Philly Health here. It was a little cheaper doing it here than was doing it in Valencia or Malaybalay. Now, as you know, a lot of times since it has coverage here, you have to go to public hospital. So in that instance. Now, the choices are, you can go to a private hospital. If you want to go to a private hospital, you can go to a private hospital, but you have to pay the bill. And what that means is your insurance, well, you will have to have insurance to cover that, or you have to have self-insured. A lot of foreigners here in the Philippines are self-insured. And what I mean by that, they slide back $100, $200 a month for their health care, and it's slid back into an account, and they touch it when they need it, instead of buying all the policies and the plans and the Medicards and MaxiCards. But it would probably really be best to do is, I'm going to talk about MaxiCards and medical cards. You can actually buy a medical card, and that gets you inside. Even if you say you're self-insured, a lot of times they will not admit you in the hospital unless you have insurance. Because you could say you're self-insured, and you could say I've got $1 million in the bank, unless you can prove you have that million in a stack of cash right before you walk in the door. A lot of hospitals will not accept you, so you need some type of plan before you gain entry into the hospital. They're going to ask you right when you walk in the door. It don't matter if you're getting ready to die there on the spot. They're going to ask you, do you have insurance? Yes, we have Philly Health. Okay, good. We have MaxiCard. Okay, good. We have this, we have that. So I'm just starting, even though I'm 7 minutes into this video and I really not got started yet, but I want to tell you about those things because they're very, very, very important, that you have to have some type. So I'm going to go through these again. We have another one called Sun Health. They will cover you up to 100 years old on this particular Sun Health policy. And it has wellness. They have a Fit and Well. They have wellness programs. They have different programs that are available at Sun Health that are really, and I will put links on every one of these in my description. So you can actually click on it if you want to go to it, and you can actually see who it is and decide if you want their plan and get a quote from them. Quotes will vary anywhere from $80 to $100 to $110 a month. Just be prepared for that. Sometimes you could buy a small policy, like I'm going to tell you in a minute that I suggest that you do. We have AXA Healthcare, but the plans stop at 65. AXA, A-X-A Healthcare. They stop at 65. Most of their plans stop at 65. But that's what you have to be aware of. You have to be aware that a lot of these plans do stop at 65, and they won't give you the availability to extend it past 65 years old. And as I just talked about, number 4 on the list is Philly Health. Philly Health is a government-owned program. I suggest if you're with a Filipina, she's probably already pre-registered for Philly Health. You can use that to get in the hospital even if it's you, and then do your self-insurance or do your credit cards or however you want to do it. A lot of Americans have credit cards, and they just use a credit card to gain entry. MaxiCare policies are the ones that people most purchase. Now, MaxiCare number 5 on the list is MaxiCare. Now, MaxiCare cards are a card that you actually purchase. You purchase a card for a year, and this gives you coverage for a year. You can actually order these cards online at Lazada. You look up Lazada and look at MaxiCare cards. Now these cards, what they'll do, you can have one that covers up to 250,000 peso of coverage, all the way up to 1 million, 2 million peso of coverage. Now the coverage, the good thing about the coverage is it gives you inside, you can get in the door to the hospital, and then they can figure out what it is. Now this particular MaxiCard plans are available. They give they get surgery, and what they do is this. You buy the card and they just load it on. So it's loaded with the benefits that you have. There are some cards that you can actually load. For an example, if you have the Elite or Premier program with them, what they'll do is, what's wrong with you, sir? Let me talk to the doctor or nurse. And your gallbladder, you need to have your appendix taken out, you need to have heart surgery. They'll load the amount of money that's needed for that on that card. So for an example, if the surgery is going to cost 25,000 peso, the doctor fees and all the other stuff is going to be another 25,000 peso. They'll load the card with 50,000 peso. If there's anything that's over that was not used on the card, it just stays on the card until your next visit. And they do that up too. So for an example, because they don't, what surgery you're having, that's how they do it. That's how they've done it. I don't know why they do it that way. There's a couple of reasons I know, but I don't want to explain because I don't know in detail. I've talked to a doctor about this, and she says it varies. It varies per situation, per city, per place that you live. I said, okay, because each hospital may do things differently. We have public hospital. We have about 13 hospitals where I live. There's another 13 Don Carlos about 15 kilometers away. And there's 10 or 15 hospitals in Valencia that are top line, German hospital, American doctors, German doctors, and there's one called Esther Hospital that has 3 doctors from USA that will actually take care of you at the need that it is. I went in the hospital, it's like a hotel. It's very nice. It's beautiful. Aircon, it's a very nice hospital. I was going to do a video, but I was not allowed to do that in there, and I don't want to do a video on someone that's sick. And so you have to be very careful with that also. Very careful. So MaxiCare policies are the ones that people most purchase for insurance. If you're not, say for instance, if you're a foreigner, instead of getting a plan, they just buy the MaxiCare cards, get the plan that's going to cost them like 50,000 peso, and they buy that. Or 10,000, 20,000. The good plans are 20, 25,000, $400 or $500 a year, and it gives you coverage for emergencies, emergency rooms, not only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 visits per year. And they have what they call an E-Ready card for emergencies also. You can actually purchase a Maxi card that has E-Ready, and they also have a Prima plan for the whole individual and family. It's actually a pretty good, nice looking plan at MaxiCare. This is one of my favorites. I really like how they do this. So many plans available. It'll take a while to explain it in detail. It's better if you guys just click on this one. This is number 5 on the list. Number 6 on the list is called medical card. It's 1 million peso per illness. You have to, what they do is you actually go online, you fill out an application, and they'll give you the information that you need to fill out and submit. Sometimes they'll ask for a pre-existing condition, and sometimes they will not. But a lot of times, it depends what kind of plans they are and how much money is involved in it. If one of the lower plans, they may not ask for a pre-existing condition. You'll find that most of these plans that I'm talking about today, they don't care if you have a pre-existing condition or not. And it's this way it is. They have another one. You can actually go on this site, and it gives what they call, if you're an expat in the Philippines, the best expat in the Philippines, this best expat insurance companies, and they give you a list of some in there, and it goes through all the Cigna and the AXA and all the Aetna and United and all those plans. But they're fine. It's fine and dandy. But really, the best thing to do is use these plans. That's number 6 on the list. These are not what I call in order. But one of the ones of my favorite ones, and I have to tell you, this is the next one coming up on the list, is number 8. Number 8 on the list is called Pacific Cross, which is the old Blue Cross and Blue Shield. I am an old friend and family friend of Blue Cross and Blue Shield because I grew up with it. There are faults in Blue Cross and Blue Shields, and there's good and bad on this particular policy. The good is they have some great plans that can help you. All you have to do is, and it goes up to $2 million coverage, $2 million US dollars coverage. So it's mini peso coverage. What it's like, and it covers you worldwide. So for example, some of the plans here, even on MaxiCard, are limited, but they do have plans, the Elite and others, that can cover you worldwide. So if you're in Guam, or if you're in Hong Kong, or if you're in Africa, and they have a plan there, you can actually use this particular plan, and it gets you the coverage that you need. We all know how that is. It's a scary thing not having insurance, and when something happens, or you unexpected things, and it's always better be prepared for it. And you know, just be prepared that some of these plans are going to cost you $100 a month. Here in the Philippines, if you're going to be here in the Philippines, unless it's major surgery, there's two things I suggest you do. Get a MaxiCard for entry. Have your Filipina sign up for Philly Health for her and the kids and the family, for dengue and all the other things, because it's covered. It's covered for anything they do. And you, a lot of times being covered, they cover a lot of major surgeries too for your family if they're Filipino. Now, with a foreigner, just self-insure yourself up to a certain extent. Slide 50, slide 100, slide 200, whatever you think into an account. Keep it off to the side. Don't touch it. Don't look at it. Just let it lay there. And when you need it, you have it. Have another policy to offset it. I don't care if it's a MaxiCard. I don't care if it's Pacific Cross. Pacific Cross, there's limitations on some of their policies that I necessarily didn't like, but this is one of my better choices so far, would be the MaxiCard and Pacific Cross at this particular time. Now, as you know, things changed. Back a year ago, it was Cigna and United were the best plans on the market here if you're going to have things done in the Philippines. But the problem a lot of times with Cigna and United, they issued new requirements and new things that you have to do. And if you're over 65 like I am now, they limitations. Believe it or not, BDO, Bpi-Metro Bank, a lot of the major banks have their own particular plans that you can actually find that what they did, they struck a deal with all these insurance companies and said, listen, we have big banking here. We have a lot of money. We can do this and we can do that. So the insurance company said, okay, you're exactly right. We can offer you a plan better for your customers than what we would if they would do it individually. So take a look at the BDO, BPI banking institution policies. You might find a pretty good price on those. The reason why I'm saying that the BDO, BPI might be a good bet a lot of times is most of the time you guys already have an account, and or your wife has an account somewhere. So please take time, take a look at BPI, BDO accounts. Their insurance is not too bad. Also, there's another one on the list. I'm going to skip to that real quick if you don't mind. It's number 10 on the list. The last one on my list is Globe. Now, Globe has a plan also that they have. They lined up with Pacific Cross, and they lined with Constra MD. Now, Constra MD is a medical big medical facility. They have doctors throughout the Philippines. It's like a group, a member group. So I could see that this might be a good policy itself. So please check it out. The insurance company, you can actually, what they do, especially if you're Globe and things like that, is they lined up and says, listen, we have more customers than anybody else here in the Philippines. Globe says we're going to offer you our best insurance plan. So they struck a deal with Pacific Cross. I submitted some information that still did not come back yet. I submitted information to a lot of these companies that did not come back yet. They want to talk on the phone, they want to come by and visit and things like that, and I'm not really good at that particular thing at the time. I did get a quote from United and Cigna, and it was running about $150 a month on the average. One was $135 and one was $150 a month on the average for full coverage for me at 66 years old. And now this coverage goes and it's good until 70 with Cigna and United. Now the MaxiCard benefits, there's no limitation on it. Pacific Cross I don't think was actually any limitation at all on it. In fact, as a family, and what I decided to do was this. I decided to do, instead of what I was doing before. Before I had a policy, and I kept a policy, and I got to looking and reading it, and there's certain limitations on it. They only cover up to certain surgeries. And it was the United policy, and it was really a good plan. But in researching it and thinking about it later on and I said, okay, I'm a self-insurer. Throw $100 in the account, $200 in the account, leave it in there and let it multiply and get, $2,000, $3,000 a year, and just use that and just let it build up until I need it. And during that time, I'm under Ruth's Philly health plan, and then I can use that for the minor surgeries and things like that if I get typhoid or break my arm or leg, or if I got dengue, things like that if I need that. And in accordance to that, what we did, we bought a small policy that just gives us simple coverage for in and out hospitals if I need to be rushed to a public and then transfer me to a private, things like that. So we actually did a little policy like that. Cost me $400 a year. It's $30 a month, and which gave us the coverage that we needed for me, because they're particularly covered. If Ruth, or say R, God forbid, R needed an appendix taken out, things like that, it's covered under the particular Philly Health program that they have here. If you're a Filipina in the Filipinos or Filipino in the Philippines, and you're born here or you're in USA and you come here, your Filipino are covered under their particular plan. And so all Filipino, it's backed by the Philippine government. So, and they just started doing that. This is not something they've always done. They just started doing this because people are sick. Once they get sick and things like that, it was just creating a lot of hassle. And come to find out there was money going somewhere else. So it was like, it's a good thing. So I'm glad the government took it over. I'm glad the government started maintaining and watching this and keep an eye on it. Sorry for this long video. I've really only hit 1/10 of it. I'll try to put pictures in here as we're going on this video and let you see it. I'll also have a link for each one of these companies that I had on here, and I'll put the link in there. And you guys can click on it, and hopefully you guys can enjoy it. So this is really the top best insurance companies in the Philippines for me looking at it, for my perspective. Some of the other people may say I wouldn't buy any of that junk, I wouldn't do this, I wouldn't do that, but it's a choice. But you make your own choice on what is best for you. And I want to thank everybody for always watching our videos, for always coming on our channel, and always coming and watching us. And we really appreciate it. And I want to thank everybody for spending their value time with me today for 22, almost a live stream time. But guess what? You'll never guess. I'm going to throw this in at the end. PLDT has been down. It's been down for over a week. We can't do live streams. We can't do anything. After the earthquake, the next day, I don't know, the box went bad. All people in the box had problem, but everybody else over here has PLDT. They have PLDT, but my box, which is over there, is not working. Go figure. God bless. Thank you.